Everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with another video showcasing the peg stamps. We are going to use Cactus Terranium and Desert Cactus. I must admit, I've never made a card using cactuses. Also, not really into cactuses. They hurt. But when I saw these, I knew I just had to make something with them. Again, getting myself out of my own comfort zone. But what I also wanted to go through is what the different dye inks can do. So, teaching moment. Who knew? So I'm going to take one of the pegs and I'm going to look at 3 different inks. Memento, Stampin' Up, and I'm eventually going to pull in Distress ink. So I'm going to take this image and I'm going to stamp it, and then I'm going to use my watercolor brush and I'm going to go over. The paper that I'm using is Canson XL watercolor paper. We all know it's my favorite. Even though my card base itself is Strathmore 5x7 grading card watercolor paper. Anyway, so now I just stamped it in a Stampin' Up ink, and you can see how different this ink reacts when I utilize my aqua brush. So the Memento, it gives you a little bit of the color to move, where the Stampin' Up actually makes it look like a watercolor. Here's the Distress ink. Now, these are not the oxide. This is the regular Distress. And I'm going to do the same thing. Stamp the image, use my aqua brush. And you can see it almost gives the same effect as the Stampin' Up ink. So it all depends on what you're going to go, what you're looking for. Now, all 3 of these inks you can use as a watercolor palette. Even the Memento, you can put that down onto an acrylic block and use it to paint with to add colors as well, if you want to do that 2-step, if you want more of the definition of the stamp itself. So just a little bit of tidbit of information. Let's get moving on to our card. So again, remember, these peg stamps are unique in the fact that they're made out of rubber and on pegs. They also have that line, that registration line at the bottom, and make sure you get yourself used to that, because in this case, this one that I used, it's just a little bit off. Doesn't mean it's defective, it just means know where the base of your item is. So unfortunately, that did stamp crooked. Never fear, we don't stop, we keep moving. The 2 ink colors that I'm using here are Always Artichoke and Pear Pizzazz by Stampin' Up. So the Always Artichoke is the darker shade, which is on the right, and the Pear Pizzazz is on the left. So you can see I blended 2 colors in the first cactus, only used 1 color for the 2 cactuses that I've already done. And in this third one, I'm using the darker color. And I'm going to be using my aqua brush on that. Now I'm going to pull in another color, because again, my mind just wanders here. So you can see I can push on the pad. The beauty of these pads are, 1, they're huge, and 2, you can push on them and create your water palette right in the container itself. So I'm using soft suede just to ground my cacti. We can't have them floating, although we could, but it would just be funny looking. So I'm just giving it a base. I'm then on this single cactus, I'm using powder pink just to give it a little flower on the top. I'm pulled back in my Always Artichoke, and I'm going to stamp a smaller round cactus. You want to make sure that the original one is dry, or else these will bleed together. So that's why they were set aside, and now I'm pulling in these different colors and the different shapes. Again, if you do this while it's wet, it's going to bleed. Ask me how I know. So I'm going to add the brown bases to these as well. You can see I'm getting shading. The watercolor, using the water with these inks, it's acting like a watercolor. It's creating shading. It's creating depth. You can tell if I just with the soft suede, I'm just putting it towards the base of the cactus, And then I'm cleaning off my aqua brush and just letting the water come out so that I can drag it out until it comes out to nothing. So you can get the shading that's going on. Same thing while you're coloring the cactus. If you just go around the edges, clean off your brush, and then pull the colors out, it'll get lighter and stay darker where you originally put the colors. Now, I do not know if all of these cactus has flowers on the tops, but you know what? I was just going with it because I thought it was cute. So I do apologize for those of you that know about cactuses. I just don't, so I'm just going with it. What I also wanted to show you with this is we've created a design on 3 separate cards. Just make your cuts. You don't have to be so precise, okay, this has to be 2 by 2, this has to be 3 by 3. Just go with it. In this case, though, that one cactus actually measures 2 1/8 by 1 5/8. The one with the 2 cactuses in there is 2 by 1 7/8. And then the one with the 3, and I just noticed I did not plan that with the 1, 2, and 3, but okay. The one with the 3 is 2 1/4 by 2. So now I'm pulling in my Marina Mist, and I want to put a sky. I just want to add some blue. So I'm just going along the top, cleaning my brush, and then pulling it down around the cactus that's on the image. It doesn't need to touch where my ground is. I just want that idea, the feel that there's sky there and a horizon that's on these. So very faint. Again, we're not going for a, true landscape here. But you can see, again, I am not a watercolorist. But this makes it look like I am, somewhat. Maybe? I don't know. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these panels, these watercolor panels, and I'm going to glue them on some of my scrap cardstock, pattern paper. I have tons of it. I couldn't even tell you what this came from. And once I have them adhered down, I use my art glitter glue. I'm using a long pair of scissors, and I'm just cutting around it. Again, I'm not worried, okay, if this one's 2 by 2, I need to cut it 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. By using the long scissors, you're going to get a straight edge if you just cut down, slice it down once. And here I'm going to do the same thing when it comes to my black and gold polka dot. I'm just going to put them down and then just gauge what that first cut looks like and then cut around them so that I have that border that goes around. It took me a long time. I was definitely one of those people where my OCD would come out. Everything had to be even. Everything had to be perfect. It took me a long time to break that. And I'm absolutely enjoying it. So I'm using my favorite, you knew my favorite things had to be part of this. I'm using their stamp set of their cactus. I will make sure I put that link down below. And I'm using one of their sentiments that says, "Thank you for loving me, even when I'm prickly." My husband saw this and could not agree more. So I'm just using my VersaFine Black Onyx ink, not even going to emboss, and I stamped right down onto, again, this is Strathmore watercolor paper, but it's in a greeting card format. You can get a box of these of 100 with the envelope, and they're 5 by 7. When they are on sale at Dick Blick or Jerry's Artorama, you can get them for like $20, $25. It is an awesome deal. I'm still not through my box, and I bought mine a while ago. So I'm placing these down. The last one, you knew I'm going to have dimension, so I got to grab my foam tape. Now, this foam tape, in case anybody asks, I found this at my local Big Lots. I wish they still had it. I think I bought it all, but it was like $1 per roll. They were looking at me kind of funny, but they no longer carry it, so I am so upset. So again, it's just a generic brand, but it works really well. So for this last one, I'm setting it in place, and again, I'm going to set it on an angle. I'm just going to make it a little bit quirky because I'm very quirky. And that's our card today. So I hope I was able to teach you a little something on the different dye inks. You can't do that with all inks like a lot of the Hero Arts, the hybrids that are out there. They don't do that. But this is a close-up of the card that we made today. Again, I do hope you enjoyed it. Please hit the thumbs up if you did. Hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. We've got a lot more videos coming out. Lots of kits have been released, and it's like an eBay auction, just trying to stay on top of it to get them for you. Again, everybody, I can't thank you enough. Everything will be down in the description box and then some. And everybody, be creative.